Hey guys, Coach Kuiper here, working on controlling the run game with another installment of Kuiper's coaching concepts. Controlling the run game from second base is what we're hitting on today. Already run through a couple other videos. One of them is the daylight play with you and the shortstop. The other is a timing play, whether it be with the shortstop at second base or you're doing in the shortstop and catcher with the glove drop. Today we're going to talk about the inside spin move. And what does that mean? This is that move, that up and over move that a lot of guys I see, quite frankly, put half effort into it and fool nobody. I think it's an incredibly underutilized move that guys can take advantage of, especially in high school. I think I learned how to perfect my move in college. I had some great coach. Shout out to Chris Frith. Really appreciate your help coming up back there at Albertson College in Idaho. And I'd heard stories about how this move can be done so effectively that it got the Albertson College Coyotes out of a World Series jam when they brought a guy in from the pen who could execute this move so well that he came in simply to pick a guy off at second base because his move was so deceptive. One of the things that I'm going to talk about, if you watched my video on balk moves at first base for right-hand pitchers, you'll remember that I talked about making the pick look like the pitch. Making the first few frames of your pick look just like your pitch. And that's the deception that's going to help you pick more guys off, plain and simple. In this case, not a balk, it's just what do guys do to give it away. I think you've probably all seen where a guy pitches, right? And then subconsciously he does something totally different when he picks. A lot of times you'll see guys do this. And their hands are so much higher. Okay, it doesn't look anything like their pick, so I don't understand why guys think they're fooling anybody. Quite frankly, they're not spending enough time on video. They're not taking their game serious and comparing their pitches and picks, or maybe they haven't seen this video. Whatever the case is, I hope that after they take a look at this, I hope you guys who are watching this take this to heart. Use some video. I like the video, the app Huddle Technique. It's on your phone. It's free. You can get better just by doing this in your bedroom, in your living room. But let's get back to it. So some of the key fundamentals: make the pick look like the pitch. Okay. At some point, you need to identify, or your coaches or your teammates need to identify, if that base runner extends on lift. Right? This is a good move to do against that guy. Effectively, once you lift, if you see that guy, if that guy starts extending on lift, he's guessing whether you're going home or not. Okay, from this position, this balance position, I have not technically committed whether I'm coming to second base or whether I'm going home. And that's the whole point, is if you can hide it as long as possible, you'll be in the best position to pick guys off. So, what do? Whatever our balance point is for our pitch is going to be our balance point for our pick. Now, a lot of times what you'll see people do, and I'll turn this way just so you can see it. A lot of times what you'll see guys do is you'll see guys lift and pitch, right? And then when they pick, they're lifting and they're coming down way towards second base. Those two things don't look the same. And although that's better than a high hands guy, it's not deceptive. Let's make this as deceptive for as long as we possibly can in this motion, okay? So have I committed? No. This is the missing step that I see from a ton of guys who are trying to pick these guys off at second base, is I'm seeing guys who turn here at high point. I don't like the turn at high point. I like the turn at closer to handbrake, okay? If we're here at balance, and I'm moving my hands down, I'm a little bit of a higher guy, but if we're here at balance, you might think, oh, I got a pitch, right? No, not exactly. I haven't committed yet. Technically, I have not committed, okay? I can rotate and go right from there. So what I like to do is I like to focus on selling it on the drive down, on the push down from balance to handbrake. If you can execute this, I'm almost guaranteeing you, in fact, I promise you, I will go out on a limb and I will say, I promise you that if you focus on this and you work on it hard, I promise you, you're going to pick somebody off by so much, you're not going to know what to do with it. And that's the thing, is when you pick guys off by doing this move, you've got them by tons. They just took their 2 shuffles. They're in the middle of nowhere, and you get to start running at them. You don't even have to throw the ball. You just start running at a guy who now looks silly. He's yelling, wait, that's a ball. Wait, what? Huh? How is this happening? No, I have not, even by my push down, I have not gone towards home, okay? The moment I start going towards home, yeah, you can't go towards home and then go towards second. But let's face it, that's really, really hard to do. If your momentum's going this way, how do you shift it back that way, okay? All I'm doing is I'm lifting up, I'm pushing down, and then I'm starting my turn. Now, here's the next thing, next tip I'll emphasize. When you guys lift up and push down, you've got to engage this core, okay? Engage your core and turn, okay? Number 2, shuffle step. Push down, engage the core, shuffle to clear to get your back foot off of the mound. It also allows your arm to get in a better position. One of the things that I see guys who do this drill poorly is I see this high point and I see this arm come up and now they're trying to throw it from some awkward position. Let's skip that. Again, I go back to if you're going to pick a guy off in this move, you're going to pick him off by a lot. So you've got time for this shuffle step. Okay? Up, down, clear, boom. Okay? You got plenty of time. If you don't get him, you're not going to get him. If you don't get him by a bunch, you're probably not going to get him. You're either fooling him on the way up, you're fooling him on the way down, or you didn't fool him at all, and he wasn't even a good candidate to do this move against. So I'd question, why are you doing it? Why are you showing this move if he wasn't a good candidate to do it against in the first place? All right? So we talked about on the way up, everything's the same. On the way down, everything's the same. Use your core, clear step, and now you've got plenty of time. One thing, now I remember what I wanted to mention. You do not have to throw this baseball, okay? Whether you come up and you're doing a bad move over, you do not have to throw this baseball to second base, okay? Last but not least, let's talk about a way to make it a little bit easier. Okay, let me grab a plate real quick. I don't quite have a pitching rubber, but hopefully this will work just fine. So use this plate as the identifier for the pitcher's rubber. You'll find that if you're doing this well and you're really trying to mimic this down push, it can get really tough to engage this core and get over, okay? But here, I'll show you a little tip that was taught to me. I don't always do this. If I'm doing this drill well and I feel really good about how I'm doing it, I don't always do it. But here's a little tip. If you're having a hard time with this up and down and then rotate and go, give yourself a little bit of a pre-turn. Say my back foot, my right foot is this righty. I'm going to go ahead and take my heel, keep my toe and ball of foot in contact with the rubber, and I'm going to take my heel maybe 2 inches off the rubber and close my stance just a tiny bit. Okay, so hitter probably can't tell, base runner can't tell. Nobody can really tell that I have essentially rotated my body just maybe a tiny bit of a tiny fraction. That little bit you'll find can actually help you lift up and down and smooth you into that shuffle and go. So I wouldn't start there. I would use that as a helpful aid, because if you can't turn, it should be hard. If you can't turn using your core, then you probably need to work on it a little bit more. I'd say that's probably it for now. The key fundamentals, when do we do it? We look for a base runner who's extending his primary either on a lift or on push down from the balance. You should hopefully not have committed at that point. Again, you need to know that you're running this play ahead of time. You can do it off of any number of looks. I would encourage you to do it off of one look, since that's the most common number of looks that most pitchers will give, so it can set them up. You want to make this look as deceptive as possible by mimicking your pitch as long as possible. Take particular notice to where you're breaking your hands. A lot of guys go high hands, or the ball comes out in a different spot. Really key in on that when you do some video analysis of this move, when you're comparing your pitch versus pick. Use your core, engage, shuffle, don't have to throw, and you should pick this guy off by a huge amount. Again, practice makes perfect. I think you guys can get this. I've picked off countless number of guys with this move. The other thing that I hadn't really mentioned, I'm not going to go into an installment of back picks just today, but one of the things that I absolutely love with this pick is the ability to run this in a bases loaded situation when I can give my shortstop a little nod and go, hey, yo, let's do this inside move on one look. Bases are loaded, man. I got the number 4 hole hitter up, in a tight spot, and all of a sudden you're like, boom, and you run this pick over to second base and you get that trail runner out. Now all of a sudden, instead of bases loaded and nobody out, you got bases loaded and 1 out. You get that 4-holer to run over on that 2-0 changeup that you just threw, and boom, you take a bases loaded, no out jam, and you just changed it by putting 1 out with a move that's in your pocket. I can't preach enough about how important I think it is to have all of these weapons in your disposal, and I believe that if you practice these things that are within your control, you'll set yourself up for the most success possible. So, hey, if you like the video, click it down below. I'll try to have links to all the other components, but check out the channel, and thanks for listening. Bye.